So that is how you go about aligning your fabric, slicing and dicing your fabric, and this is what some of the blocks will look like. Hello there, YouTube. I hope you are having a blessed day today. It is a gray, cloudy, and drizzly day here on the mountain. We're back for part 2 of our 4-patch Kaleidoscope blocks. Okay, here we are with our Kaleidoscope blocks. We have a total of 50 blocks. So we are going to play with our blocks and we're going to see what design floats our boat. And I kind of like that. Now, a lot of people like the little tiny designs that you get in here that kind of look like wings, but don't be upset because those wings, if they're really thin, they're going to disappear into the seam allowance. So let's sew this together and we'll see how much of this disappears. Going to take these together. Come on. And these two. We're going to finger press. So we're going to finger press in opposite directions. So now our seams nest together. Okay, so that is our very first block. And now we're just going to continue in this fashion, playing with our blocks until we like what we see. See, now a lot of this is going to get cut up because we're going to have 1/4 of an inch off each edge. So if you're concerned about that, then let's try playing with the blocks this way. So there's that one. Let's see what this little yellow one looks like. Oh, I kind of like that. Okay, that's the one I'm going with. Again, nesting those seams together. There we go. There's the next one. So that is basically how this works. It just keeps going. You can decide how you want things to look. There is no right way or wrong way with this. It's however you prefer. And I kind of like that. This is a very nice weight cotton. People didn't used to like the stuff that Walmart had, but this is pretty nice fabric. I like it. And the last quilt that I did with the what did I call it, blocky blocks, that one, the solid colors, most of them were from Walmart also. This may not have been the optimal fabric. I think that a larger print would have been more successful, but it's still going to make a beautiful quilt. Whether it be for a little baby or a wall quilt or a quilt for the car, or you folks that are quick with math will probably be able to figure it out. Let's see how big these are. Oh, I like that. 7.5 inches. So it'll finish up at a 7-inch block. And I've got 50 blocks. So go do the math. Me and math. Let me know in the comments, because me and math don't get along. I'll let you people that are quick with the numbers tell me what the results will be. They'll be 7-inch finished. Oh, that's pretty. Very nice, very nice. Very pretty. A lot of the blocks will probably end up looking similar, but you can get a really amazing selection of blocks if the print is larger. I will look through my stash and find a larger floral, or I like to use florals because I love the flowers. I will look in my stash and see if I have any larger fabrics that we could try. There we go. I like that. It's amazing what 4 little pieces of fabric can do. And this block, this quilt, will take time to lay out. You'll have to move the blocks hither and yon to see what layout you like. Not quite as fast a paced quilt as the last one, or the potato chip block, but it's fun. And if you have a large enough print, every block will be unique. And you can almost have like a watercolor effect because one block may be filled with primarily purple, and then the next one may have a lot of yellow in it. So this is going to be a cute baby quilt, but it's not an optimal print. You want a larger print. Now see, this one we're going to lose. We're going to lose much of the dark center, but I think that's real sweet looking. So let's see what happens. Oh, that looks sweet. I like that. There we go. I like that. There's that one. Okay, I think you get the idea. So I have quite a stack already done, a nice pile of them, and I will finish them off and I will meet you over at the design wall. This is just a quick update. I was feeling that these blocks were really getting lost when they were butted up against each other. So I said, I wonder what happens if I put some sashing in there. And I like that effect much better. The individual blocks can be appreciated then. Otherwise, they were just getting lost in this. So I think I will plan on adding, I have this is a nice piece of purple batik, and it looks nice with this purple here. And it's a nice contrast, so I think I will go with a 1-inch sashing all the way around it. Okay, so we did put this on the wall, and I discovered this, as soon as I opened up this fabric, I kind of knew that it was not going to be a really good choice for a Kaleidoscope quilt. I thought that I was getting her larger print, the big feature print that she has that's on all of her things. But unfortunately, it was this smaller print that we have right here. When I put it all up on the wall like this, putting all the blocks together, everything just kind of muddied together and you couldn't see anything. When I separate it by some nice contrasting sashing, the blocks are visible again. You can actually appreciate the little designs that happen in the middle. So I picked out this nice 1-yard batik that I got from my buddies over at So Yeah. So I decided that I would use this batik that is so very pretty, and we would use this as a nice thin sashing. The blocks are small, so I don't want a big sashing, so I'm going to use 1.5 inch. That'll finish down to 1 inch, and I'm going to cut a bunch of strips. Wow, man, that's crooked. Somebody new must have cut this. But that's okay, we'll still be able to use this. We can use it for our woven blocks or our strip blocks. And I want my little handy dandy dumbbell. And I just added that blade, and it's already dull. So I'm actually going to flip this around now, because I'm a lefty, and I find it a wee bit on the difficult side. Cut on that side. And I do have a crease here. That's okay. And I'm using my new camera mount and my cell phone. And I got myself a 15-foot phone cable. So it's going right into my computer, and I absolutely love it so far. This thing is very nice and steady. I can even move you over a little bit more. All right, so we're cutting 1.5 inch and a whole bunch of them. All right, so this is like watching grass grow. So I will turn the camera off, and I will come back when I'm at the machine with all of the sashing and all of the blocks. Okay, let's see if this camera setup is going to work for me. I'm kind of wrapped around some wires. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be laying this quilt out 5 by 10. And there will be 1.5 inch unfinished sized sashing in between the blocks in the rows. And then there'll be one long strip that goes in between the rows. So this will be a row, then the purple sashing will be a row, then the next set of blocks, that'll be a row. That is the way I am going to do this. So I need, for each row, I need 5 blocks with 4 pieces of sashing in between them. Now I can do a bunch of them chain piecing style, but I won't be able to web it because I still need the other sashing in there. So if you are a regular here on my channel, you know how much I adore the show called The Chosen. It is about the life and ministries of Jesus Christ. And the season 3 finale 2 episodes will be in theaters on this Friday, and I'm going, and I'm so excited. It is the only show I watch. I don't watch anything on television, cable, Netflix, Hulu. I don't watch any of that stuff. I watch The Chosen and I watch YouTube, and that's it. So I'm very excited. Have goosebumps. So there is the first piece of sashing. Now we're going to grab the next block in the row. Okay, so that is how I am sewing these together. Again, I will not be webbing this quilt top because I have to put the sashing in the rows too. So that is how it's going to go together, and I will see you when I get done with this, and we'll start on the sashing and across the rows. I have all 10 rows sewn, and I have cut all of the sashing, and this I hope it's long enough. I'll be pretty upset if it isn't. Yes, it is. I'm just going to cut this. Basically, you can fold it back on itself right at the very edge and take your scissors. Let's see if we can get in here. So I folded the sashing back on itself so it's straight, and I'm just gonna let my scissors cut in there, and it cuts it nice and straight. That. Uh-oh, I lost bobbin chicken. Look at that.
Am I gonna cry? Am I about to cry? No.
Well, at least it happened at the end of a row. Okie doke. Almost the end of the row. So if you keep sewing your entire project in one direction, it will kind of slant in that direction. I'm going to sew the sashing on in one direction and then sew the next row to it in the opposite direction. Oof, it is warm. Very, very warm. Unusual for pretty near February. And once again, I'm going to cut my sashing by just folding it over itself, giving it a nice straight line there, and just letting the scissor guide. Okay, we'll sew this one on. So I will turn the camera off, and I will meet you back when I have all of these sewn together. Okay, YouTube, it is done. I did a little finagling with the quilt. I started to make it 5 by 10 and realized that was way too tall and way too skinny. So I still had, I think, 2 or 3 rows to sew on at the time. So I broke them down and I made it 6 by 8. And this thing is huge. I don't make big quilts. I have no idea how in the world I'm ever going to be able to quilt this. I was killing myself just trying to sew it together. But here it is. And it desperately needed the sashing. The quilt looked horrible without it. It just looked like someone tossed a bowl of salad on the floor and said, there you have it. But now all the blocks stand out and you can appreciate them. So it is 6 by 8, and hang on and I'll give you some measurements. Okay, it is 50.5 by 66.5, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. This was a fun project, and I think it was a pretty good save by adding the sashing. You couldn't really see anything, really. But once I added the sashing, all the blocks started to pop. So what am I going to do with this huge quilt? I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. But I love the way it turned out. I think it was a good save by adding the sashing, and I am going to do this again, so be prepared. But this time I'm going to call my buddies over at So Yeah, and I'm going to get some large florals in a nice chunk, so maybe like a 3-yard chunk. And we'll do it again. So as a recap, I used 4 repeats of fabric. I had 3 yards of the feature fabric, and I cut it into 4 repeats of 24.5 inches each repeat, and we cut them into 4-inch strips and then into 4-inch squares, and we sewed them together, played with each block. We decided how we liked it, how we wanted to lay it out, and when I put it up on the design wall, I was very, very upset because it looked horrible. You couldn't see anything. So I said, let me add some sashing, and boom, there it is. I am so delighted with how this quilt came out, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this journey. And I want to thank you all so very much from the bottom of my heart for all your wonderful comments and your likes and your subscribes. I just feel so loved, and being here alone, I only talk to the camera or I talk to my husband over the phone, but it warms my heart that you're coming along with me on this journey and that you're commenting, and it feels like I have a whole pile of new friends, and I'm just so delighted. So thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you so much for your subscribes and your comments and your likes, and I just so enjoy each and every one of them, and I'm just so thrilled with how my channel has been growing, and I hope that I can keep up at this pace. Someone suggested Patreon. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to be able to see what I could add to my schedule already that would make it worthwhile for somebody to want to pay a subscription fee to get that kind of content. So I'm thinking I do have a very large set of blocks that I designed 20 plus years ago. They're all applique baby blocks, so that's something that we might explore. So I'll keep it in mind, and if you have ideas and suggestions, or if you're not interested whatsoever in doing that, then let me know in the comments so I know how to proceed. So thanks again so very much for coming along with me on this project. I hope that I will see you back here on my next project right here at 70 Acre Studio. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Have a very blessed week. God bless.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy.